We have some mugs left. Now, I have no more movie questions, but we will ask a few questions nevertheless. How much is this catalog? 22,000? Who was this? Yes, you? The other person? Yeah, please give me a show of hand. Yeah, you'll have mugs. You can actually exchange them for printies, no problem. Next question. Just give me a show of hand. Is this expensive or cheap? Who's in favor of expensive? One hand at the back. Nobody else? Oof. Well, we know the marketing question of all marketing questions. What's your budget? Okay, who think it's inexpensive? Cool. Why? Because it's a very extensive volume. Comment off the mic. Well, you say Esculap B. Brown has actually bought pretty well. Comment off the mic. A mug, please. Any other reasons why it is inexpensive? Yeah, because of the production process, I'd say. Because it is elaborately bound. And there's a nice slipcase. And then this is an elaborate production. Maybe the slipcase comes from Eastern Europe, but the main product comes from Central Europe, and this all needs to be put together. And this is quite a high production expense. And then you hope that it is very representative somewhere on a shelf at the doctor's office so that you can really see it. Yeah, a Mark II. Another argument why it is inexpensive. Yes, you can exchange. Yeah, there are other printy mugs available as well, and you can bribe colleagues. Any ideas? Any other ideas? I think it is totally inexpensive. And I argue along the same lines because I address the surgeon, not the panel doctor, but the surgeon at a clinic. And one appointment, sales appointment, total cost. And if you're in a sales organization, you will know then that this is around €1,000, such appointment. The salesperson needs to go there, talk to the head physician for an hour, then he has to prepare. So this costs around €1,000. Now you give this extremely expensive touch point this footprint so that he can take along this analog footprint. And this was also a question for Mr. Brühl yesterday at the B. Brown presentation, how long the products last. He said some 40, 50 years. The catalog here will probably be there for 2 or 3 years. And for this, €25, whatever, are really a gift. What does this have to do with this presentation? Because it's in no way personalized. There are two things this has in common with my presentation. Yeah, I'm slightly blinded by the light. I couldn't see you. Dietmar Klaus and I met at Esculap for the first time. Can you remember that first encounter? This was 4 years ago. 5? Esculap, the product manager, global product manager of all Escalab products, he's responsible of the sales tools. He's not in charge of sales, but of the sales tools, making sure that the sales organization in the 120 countries or 140 actually has the right tools available so that the sales guys can work. And it was a workshop about automated catalog production. It was an initial workshop. They asked SAP which tool they're using, and they said, you have to call Huber, and Huber went to Tuttlingen. And the product manager, Mr. Stiller, and said, he doesn't need a catalog any longer. Nonsense. And I asked, great, well, you're exactly at the right event. And he said, yeah, why? Well, my problem is, he said, that half of the sales guys say, I need a catalog, and the other half says, I don't need a catalog. And he is also in charge of the budget. So the question of all marketing questions, what's your budget? And his mission in this workshop was that he actually wanted to have a personalized catalog. I no longer want to have this responsibility any longer. The sales guys should decide. If they say that they need a catalog for their customer, then they should make it. In this workshop, there was one showstopper, an important showstopper, when he said, and it must actually be booked to the correct SAP cost center, to the sales guy's SAP cost center, not his own. So this was the vision. We want to have personalized catalogs, and the idea was that the sales guys put the information together themselves in a digital application, in a digital shopping cart, so to speak, not in the print suite. And then the vision was to have business intelligence, SAP, saying, well, we in sales are lazy. If a sales guy tells you he's not lazy, don't believe him. Sales guys are lazy by definition. And I, as a sales guy, I sell the products that my customer knows and that I know. So I always go the path of least resistance. And it makes all the sense in the world, because when I only have an hour in a sales talk, then I try to opt for a safe terrain. The hospital has always purchased these surgery scissors, so they will carry on buying them for the next 20 years. Other innovative products, who knows? And then part of the vision was that business intelligence, you'd say AI today, additionally introduces ranges that the AI thinks could be of interest to the hospital as well. This was the vision. Plus a worldwide distribution, of course, that the one-on-one scale publication can be delivered to Pakistan. That was the vision. Oh, we can do that. And you know the question? What about the data? Can you actually automate the data? Well, we'll have to see. Then they created a report, which took a year, and then we found out that the data were not ready for automation. This is what Mr. Bull told you. In the chart by Dietmar Klaus, we saw this when he spoke about personalized catalogs. The fully automatic export is fine, faster, cheaper, This is the usual database publishing argument, but the vision, the underlying vision, is a completely different one, because we say we can now personalize for each clinic, and we can produce a targeted catalog for each clinic. And who was with the keynote? Well, I said that it is more and more important to be customer-centered. This is, of course, also a shift of responsibility, because in former times, the product manager was responsible for deciding on which products would be included. Well, I think it was a full range. But now, in a personalized catalog, the salesperson can decide and is responsible for this. At the end of the day, the Web2Publish, a self-service. People can do it by themselves. Web2Publish is on demand. That's perfectly clear. I, as a sales guy, apart from being lazy, I only think about tomorrow. I look at my agenda and check where I'm going to have my appointment tomorrow, and I prepare. So everything needs to be more or less on demand. And we manifest data, whether we do it in the form of a PDF or printed. Still printed, that's an exciting question, but it's a detailed question. I hand over manifested data to somebody else. I create confidence, because now the surgeon or the doctor can say, well, this is what it says. This is exactly the specification. And on the product details page, on the 14th of April, you told me that. Whether it's a PDF or whether it was printed, makes no difference. And we are up to date. And this is actually another step covered in the customer keynote by Jan Rüger on Fischerwerke. We asked, what will the future of catalogs look like? And Jan Rüger said, we do not know in which cycles we want to update. In the category catalogs, we will probably, in brackets where there's lots of innovation, we will update more frequently than in the ranges where nothing is happening a lot. And this is the next step then. We always want to be absolutely up to date with our data, and I can update anytime. That's the idea in Web2Publish, and the added benefit. Yeah, understood so far? Why have I selected this photo here, this image? For several reasons. Web2Publish has been around for 3,000 years or what. It seems a bit obsolete, old school in our digital age today. Like this photo fix. But when you take a closer look, it reads, you need it for a biometric passport. So manifested data. An instant. I've forgotten it and I have to fly to the States and help. I need to quickly generate a new passport, and I need it in a high quality. But I have no idea, no clue about photography. A completely different question. Well, there's still mugs left. Yeah. Why do we need a database? Well, I could also rephrase and say, when do we need a database? I'm not asking who has to do with databases directly or indirectly, because if this person does not give me a show of hand now, then the party was too long and it was a hard night. Yes, very good. Comment off the mic. Yes, a mug, please. Well, let's move away from publishing and let's be a little more general. Exactly. And you do it when you have lots of data. When I want to find lots of data quickly and make sure that the information is correct. Address database, for instance. From which entries does such an address database make sense? Well, when several people work with it, that's clear. Yeah, this is probably a little too low. Yeah, you don't need a database. That was a comment off the mic. Just think of the question of all marketing questions. So one address, we could handle this. 100, 1,000, 10,000. What's your feeling? Yeah, 3-digit number makes sense. Let's say 10,000. Good number? Yes, you're nodding. So when I have 10,000 data sets, I should probably no longer use an Excel spreadsheet. A catalog? For a catalog, say it has 1,000 pages. So when I say for each page that needs to be proofread, then this would mean 1,000 data sets. Okay? Fine. Then an image, a preview, 1,000 data sets. So you don't need a database for that. Okay. Now I publish this catalog in 20 languages. 1,000 by 20. This is 20,000. I probably need a database. And now I do a few category catalogs. The same pages featuring in the category catalogs. This brings us up to 40,000, and I want to do it and manage it for 2 or 3 years across the time span, because some are published every 2 years, others are published every year. I wasn't good at maths, but we're talking about this 6-digit number here. So for managing catalogs or managing public applications, we need a database. Yeah, you're nodding? Fine. This was my argument when I presented the print planner 14 years ago at print day number 3. Back then, this was my or my why argument. This is how I got started with the same questions. And yeah, great. This is why you need a database. This is the print planner, just one module of the print suite. Well, who were in the release and the roadmap presentation will know that we somehow have to manage the InDesign or the print files, and you do it in a cloud system today, in the cloud storage system. Not necessarily in the cloud, but in an object store. And a workflow needs to be there. We need to orchestrate, we need to manage, we have to output data, so we need a workflow system. Because somehow the 20,000 or 100,000 data sets need to be managed. You're nodding? Oh, well, great. And then whether you do it in InDesign or on the desktop or in Illustrator for diagrams or wherever, we do it over the server. So we have rendering services in InDesign, Illustrator, or in the print cloud, if you buy the licenses. So far, so good. This is a completely normal print suite setup. Not for 1,000 years, but for ages this has existed. And independent of the technology that has constantly been updated. But this is really an old hat, 15 years old. Then we've got APIs. So the print planner engine can be controlled, and we of course have a web UI, a user interface, which was also modernized over the past 3 years. So on the graphic user interface, I can see my documents, I can plan my documents, I can annotate them digitally. Well, this reads Power User. This reaches out to people who deal with these publication processes on a daily basis. In the customer keynote by Jan Rüger, you saw this chart top right, and it said how many FTEs deal with this publishing process at Fischerwerke. Has anybody remembered the number up right? Yes, correct. Comment of the mic. Exactly. 2 people. I love the icon he showed with this ingenious, what is it called? With this fingerprint. Yeah, the fingerprint, yeah. They organize this, and they are so-called power users. So day after day, they do the same thing. And they need a UI that is powerful, that is effective to use, and has 17 additional functionalities for this 1% of users. This is the print planner UI for power users. And even in major organizations, this is only a very small fraction of people. This is the whole sense of the print suite, saying you have 10 people in marketing, get 7 or 8 people out of this team to generate content, media neutral and as emotional as possible, in order to boost communication. So we're shifting resources over to content generation, and the button is pressed by hardly a few people, but they know every trick in the book. This is the classical print suite, the business model, the business value that our customers want to have. And we also say this can also be controlled or managed by external applications. Looking at Hans Grohe, for instance, they do not create the print planner application in this user interface, but they do it. They only manage the final touches, basically. And now, but can we hand this over to sales guys, the power user application? No. They do it just once or twice a year. So it is a completely different circle of users. But with all of the other things in the background, the same templates, the same data, we just have to completely simplify matters. And this is why we said we will do a self-service UI and add it. And this is now my selling you my shop window that we actually issue a separate license for. So everything we have there, everything that works for the power users is simplified with the same templates, with the same workflows, with everything we already have. We just actually add a simplified user interface and take the user who only needs it once or twice a year by the hand and tell them do this first, then the next step this one, then you do this, and then you click on the button and you wait for a while, you get an email, and you have your catalog. To make things clear again, what the power user interface can do, we manage publications with rights. This is our templates. we can assign content, which product families and products are exported. We can do detailed selections. We can make digital annotations. This is wonderful user interfaces, but only for these power users. Then there is production with Kanban board. Easy to handle, but you require expert knowledge. And now I want to show you, this is an old tip, but right for now, to explain the basic principle. Let's look at Hoffmann as an example. I have a brief presentation problem. Wait a minute. The laptop is not responding. Great. Yes, I wanted to stop it actually, but well, I'll just leave it and let it run and then talk over it. Here you see the first step where we simply save detailed information. Then in the background, in the print planner application, a publication is created or generated. Now I configure things. I can select images, whatever. This is, of course, saved in the templates. I can select a customer. Here at Hoffmann, we have integrated individual tool. So I select a range or an assortment. They also have the cuts, and then we generate the catalog and we get it as an email for download. 4 steps for generation: configuration of the content, range selection, so which articles we want to have in our assortment, push the button and get the result based off pre-saved and sample publications pre-produced by marketing. Also included is that publication can be republished. Once I've done it for customer A, I can also reuse it with different prices for customer B, and I just click the button again. 4 steps. The wizards we see can be configured. At another customer, Cordes and Greve, we had 5 visits because they do a few more additional things, but I'll talk about this a little later. With this setup, that is already included in the print suite. No new templates, no new data integration. If you have a fully automatic system, then you just have to clarify the range assortment, and then you can work with this tool. Immer, always, the comment off the mic. Yes, so I could, as a power user, also fall back on this. Yes, you can actually assign rights, or eliminate something. The same mechanic, it's just a different user phase only. Well, this is, it's a different interface that is optimized for occasional users. Clicking, of course, takes a little longer than doing it in the print planner, but it is safe because you can't make any mistakes. Steps 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also save the work in progress. You do not have to repeat the 4 steps. You can always actually fall back on the latest work status. From the Cordes and Greve project, again, how you can individualize the pages. Here at Cordes and Greve, can you remember the keynote on the first day where I said, yes, personalization of publications such as this catalog without any high entry hurdles, entry barriers. Can you remember? With low entry barriers. Cordes and Greve is a trading company of for houses, and they have a curated assortment. Just imagine a museum. You have 20,000 exhibits in the basement. But you can only display 100 or 200 of these exhibits to the audience publicly. So the curator of the museum decides which of the 200 of the 10,000 will be displayed, gets them out of the basement, arranges them, produces content, and says, "What a great exhibition!" All museums have many times the exhibits stored in their basements. Why am I telling you this story? Well, the basement is the internet. The exhibition area is your print catalog. I cannot display 10,000 exhibits. Well, I can take photographs and say, well, this is also available, but the catalog is a metaphor, a symbol of a curated assortment. Well, the causality is different. Watch out. Not because it's printed, it's a curated assortment. No, you should have a curated assortment to have a high quality print publication. Such a curated assortment, and everybody knows, I think we had enough presentations and lots of discussions about what about the data quality. Well, we're not that far yet, we need some more time. This is a showstopper for such a thing. Allegedly, but that's not true. At Cordes and Greve, we had no curated assortment whatsoever. They only have articles. We can take the number, the article number, the designation of the item, one image, the number, the designation, and the image. There's a descriptive text, but only on the article basis. So there are no summaries. So we only have 3 pieces of information. And we said, okay, you're not that far yet with the data, but that's not a problem, because the house or the outlet of the Cordes and Greve group, when they do a stock list, they just upload an Excel spreadsheet that they want to export. And then they can also include summaries and enter their individual price, and actually include a nice promotional text. This is, of course, not the last word, but you can really start immediately. And then we do an evaluation and look at which articles, which homes are sold best, and this is then a good indicator for curating all of these articles. So, coming very quickly to a personalized outlet personalized stock list without major pim dum dum or whatever. Very fast. Marketing. What's the focus? To have something quickly. This does not mean that you're not looking into the further curation of the range, but getting started and to find out where we should invest more time in the content. One question off the mic. Is this important to have consistent data uploaded? Well, this is a very good question. When uploading through our process engine, we actually apply quality checking routines, and they tell the outlet what's wrong. And we even highlight this in the Excel spreadsheet with red boxes where there's wrong information contained. We're very strict there, like a PIM system. So this is not a very poor data quality, but if anything is wrong, we highlight it with red text in the box. Then, applications. How much time do I have left? Dear moderator and wife? 6 minutes are left. Where are we using this today? For catalogs, price lists, for promotions, at the POS, and for labels. This is an example of an Australian customer of ours. Produces a few labels for the POS. 220 outlets. 500,000 labels. Important. Not for sales, for picking the goods in the outlets. 500,000 labels every month. And for marketing, there was no standardized process. They actually retrieved the data from a PIM system and quality assured with us. And now, not the individual outlets, but the cluster, the people responsible for the cluster of outlets dealt with us. And where are we headed? The whole infrastructure is available when you remember the first schematic diagram. What we're doing now, this can be configured in 21.1 or 25.2. It will be part of the standard delivery. Technically, it is in existence, but as a standard software manufacturer, there is one step missing, and that is to introduce it into the standard software. So it needs to be compatible upwards or downwards. If we say this is part of the standard, this is another big step to take, although we say it's all finished. So in February or in autumn next year, this will be introduced into the standard set of products. The access rights can be changed in the classic print planner, but today only the teams, only the employees and teams have access rights. But we will build in a function where if an employer says, I have a fantastic publication that I've compiled for XYZ customer, dear sales colleague, I think it works so well for XYZ, I could well imagine that it also works for customer ABC, and I'll make it available for you and you can have a look at it. This worked fine for me. This is a learning from the POS project, and that is to introduce further improvements. The catalog is a publication with 500 pages, say. The labels have 1 page, the POS material, but we have 500,000 individualizations. We want to improve this further. And we want this to work with the print cloud in the standard set, so that we can use the PDF rendering service and that you can also have it in the print cloud at a click of a button. So this is our roadmap. Questions? Are there any questions? Yeah, yes. Second, please. I was asked to always reach you a mic. I have not fully understood the self-service. Does this target people who use the print suite today plus others? Yes. Okay, so that anybody can do it. A new sales guy is given access and can get started. Exactly. So 1,000 sales guys, they can produce 50 catalogs per day. Exactly. People who today do not publish. One more information to paint the full picture. Who attended the PIM panel discussion probably heard this trivial sentence, but this is highly explosive, the sentence. And it was also presented in another lecture, I think. the responsibility of sales is increasingly shifting towards expert departments. This was said twice. And this is why it is important to give them tools so that they can live up to their responsibility for sales. This is completely natural for us as a task, and this is why this is a completely new circle of users, whether it's the sales people who have are not power users, are not familiar with workflows, and who are not dealing with producing a 5,000-page catalog. User management is then linked with Active Directory, or yes, the user management is the publisher service, and this is actually supporting Active Directory. So just the UI is different. Everything else, everything included in the print suite as innovations is of course available here. This means I would look at the print planner environment, select functionalities that I make available to my self-service guys. Yes, exactly. My question for catalogs, does the system also generate individual indices? I couldn't understand you acoustically. I had a lot of echo. Can you please repeat? Individual index. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. This is also generated fully automatically based on the selected articles and the range. Of course. Michael Giesen, I think. Well, one question. If there are more users potentially, is this the same license model? Well, I considered whether I actually asked this question that Michael Giesen will probably ask. No, there will be another license model. And this is why I said initially it will be introduced into the standard with a different licensing model. This is what I said initially, you probably remember. And of course, our partners will know about it first. Any other questions? One moment, 1 second, please. This is being recorded, and this is why if you don't use the microphone, we won't hear it on the recording. On the implementation in 25.1 or maybe 2, does this have to do with the fact that the object store is included then? It also works without the object store. With the print suite, today you can, that has Camunda today, you can install the module and get going because it's a standard package. So you can already do it now. An additional question on the use in the back end. If it's a PDF renderer or InDesign. PDF renderer and or InDesign, just the way you want it. So depending on the use case. Yes, exactly. Depending on the use case, marketing issues, and the question of all marketing questions, what's your budget?